What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 35 of Unfiltered. I'm your ChanManV, and today we got a special guest here, Mr. EG.Huk, joining us for the first time on Unfiltered, Steven and I. What's up, Huck?
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Excited to have you, man. Excited to have you. How's your holidays, man?
Okay. Nothing exciting, just chilled and did family stuff and ate food, etc.
Ah, cool. Well, I wasn't planning on doing this. See, this is like every single week I end up leading off the show with, I didn't plan on doing this show this week, but so much stuff happened while I was in Vegas, so it's just too hard not to have a show to talk about all the good news and the kind of weird news, crazy news going on in the community. But today we're going to be talking about MLG. MLG's a lot of really cool news that was announced the last day or two. And then we'll talk a little bit about WCS NA qualifiers and let's see, some of the Quantic stuff, because we haven't had a chance to really chime in on the Quantic stuff. And a few people from the community had some interesting articles, like Maximus had that interesting Reddit post about just pros and personalities and stuff. So I figured we'd maybe chime in on that. But as usual, put your questions that we can ask during the viewer Q&A in the Reddit thread, which is here, which I'll post. And we'll try to get to as many as possible. Again, I'm just going to sort by best. So vote for the questions you want to be asked, because going through each and every week is pretty tough to do, and it's always kind of lags down the show too. So that's what we're going to do. And if we don't get your questions, sorry about that, but get some votes on your questions. But all right, Steven, how's it going, buddy? How's the Cocoa Pups?
How are your Cocoa Puffs?
Shit. All right, let's kick things off. Let's talk about MLG. So MLG announced that they're going to be doing some StarCraft 2 events. It's like, holy shit, they're going to be doing StarCraft 2 events. After all, just, I guess, a lot of, bickering going on between, Adam, Sundance, and the community for a while now, at least since they were doing WCS. Looks like, 2014 is going to be pretty good from the standpoint of StarCraft 2 at MLGs. So they announced two things. They announced the GameOn Invitational, which will be this month, and it's an NA only invitational for, I believe, $5,000. Is that right?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
5,000 total.
Yeah, 16 players, all NA, and lots of our favorites. Huck here is going to be involved. Scarlet, Minigun, Suppy, Vibe, QXC, and Control, and lots of others that we know around the NA community. I think it's really cool that they're trying this out and seeing what, I guess, an NA only tournament with the biggest names can produce. But Steven, you're going to be casting it with Cats. How'd that end up coming about?
Because why the fuck not? What's that supposed to mean?
No, I mean, it's like MLG and Destiny. Where really? Wow, that's awesome.
I've just been working so hard on rebuilding all those fridges, I only make fun of white people now. I don't make fun of...
Oh, shit. But you guys are going to be casting from the Root House, right? Something like that?
Yeah, I'm probably going to go down the 18th.
Okay. Very cool. And it's just going to be you two, or are there going to be some...
Have they
separate...
announced any guest casters yet?
I don't think so.
They haven't hinted at it at all?
Oh, so there are guest casters.
Well,
And
there we
there
go.
are
Is that what you're saying?
There are two guys that are going to be down there helping. Very big people that, well, not big people. Well, I guess one of them is a big person, but like everybody's heard of them, There'll be two people down there.
Yeah.
So
Casting a little bit.
Idra's one, maybe?
You think Idra's a big person?
Oh,
I didn't know what
that's
you meant
cool.
by big.
That's cool,
I guess
man.
to you and me, maybe everyone else is kind of big. You're kind of a slender, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's big to me. No, but two other guys, I don't know. I never know, like,
turn
what
you
works
guys up.
astronauts or not. No, got it.
You're kind of soft, dude, all of a sudden. I'm going to turn you guys up a little bit.
I'm sorry, I'm here, buddy.
All right.
But yeah, there'll be we're looking to see who all wants to come in and like guest cast with us. There are a couple people coming in so far that we've pretty much confirmed, so it should be fun.
Okay, good deal. So you're going to be interviewing these guys. I mean, it's an online tournament, right? So
Yeah.
Gonna get some of those interviews, because I think the interviews are pretty important to just the production of all of it.
Think so?
Yeah. Especially interviews with you.
So actually, me and Cats have I'm sorry, hold on, not me. Lay down. Chill out. Calm down. So me and Cats have a lot of free reign over like what we get to do with this tournament. So
Nice.
yeah, we pretty much get to decide almost everything that's going on. So if you have you brought up that interview thing, and I hadn't even actually thought about that. I had a little thread on my subreddit. If you have any ideas or suggestions or just random things or whatever, people should throw ideas into there, and we pretty much have free reign to incorporate whatever we want into it, within reason.
All right, what's that thread? So I can link it in there.
Post it in the chat.
Did you post it? All right, good stuff. All right, cool. So what kind of cast is this going to be like, man? Is this going to be real casual cast or?
I mean, relatively casual. We're not looking for like suits and ties, like super. It'll be fun. Whatever you're used to seeing me and Kenster, I guess, should be fun.
Huck, what do you think about this tournament?
Obviously, I like it. I mean, NA only tournaments are always good, and we finally have some. I'm really not sure what MLGs. I guess they're testing to see if they need to like unlock the Korean visas for the Anaheim event, and they're using this as kind of a feeler. That's what I would guess. Is they're gonna run this. The viewership's really good, and they think that Anaheim will be a success without the Koreans that have visas in the U.S. Then they'll open Anaheim up if it's not. So I don't know. I like it. Obviously, it just depends, I guess, how smoothly it's run and everything. But with Destiny and Cats at the helm, I hope for the best.
Yeah, right now, so this event, so no bullshit. I think that the way that it works is this event is pretty much MLG is coming back to test the waters with StarCraft 2, right?
Yeah.
If they come back and the reception is really good, and so far they've been happy with the reception, for whatever that's worth. Obviously the Reddit threads and whatnot were good, but if the reception to this event is really positive, then from the sounds of it and from everything that I've seen so far from them, it seems like they want to invest quite a bit more into the StarCraft 2 scene for 2014. I think, did Adam publicly say like 200 seats for open bracket in Anaheim and stuff like that? Is he?
I don't think he didn't say 200.
He didn't say 200.
Really fucking big.
Oh, sorry. Okay,
So,
then, well, yeah, those are the
that's
numbers
pretty
that are, like,
awesome if it's 200.
Open bracket for Anaheim. And none of that's confirmed yet, obviously. Nothing beyond this event is set in stone yet. But this event will be really important in terms of them testing the waters to kind of see, just to kind of feel out their place in the scene and to see what the reception to the event will be like. For things like for visas, like Polt and APOC and Select and Muslim, people like that playing at like Anaheim, I think that those decisions are all still up in the air too, where they're just not sure yet. I think they're willing to hear arguments from either side.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
the biggest thing, from what I understood when MLG took a step back after they ran that WCS, is they were just getting nonstop shit no matter what they did, even though they were taking like a loss or they barely broke even on WCS. So they felt like, they were trying their best and they were, contributing to the community, but then no matter what, they just got shot on from the community. So they were just like, fuck it. Like, this isn't a good business move. This isn't a good PR move. Nothing good's coming from this. And they dropped StarCraft 2. As far as from what I
Maybe.
understood.
I don't think I would shift much blame on it. I don't think no matter how the community acted, I think things still would have went the way that they did. As much as people like to point to the community for fucking up some things, and I mean, I can say the community might have fucked up a few things in the past. I don't think that the MLG's presence in StarCraft 2 is one of them. There were a lot of people publicly shitting on it, but to be fair, I mean, with the way that Sundance handles PR, sometimes that's inevitable.
Well, I mean, so what in particular are you talking about, Huck? I mean, the WCS stuff was a disaster. I mean, let's just be honest.
Oh yeah,
like,
it was.
No.
It's
The problem is that the WCS stuff it was like the clashing of like two bureaucracies, like MLG trying to deal with all of Blizzard's WCS stuff, and then just the joint of those two worlds was just a disaster for MLG. I heard that the event wasn't very good for them in terms of numbers and the amount of money that they had to invest into it, and Blizzard not paying anything, and like I just heard a whole bunch of bad things. Like, it made Dota 2 look much more lucrative, especially with the viewer numbers and shit that they're getting versus struggling with the WCS and StarCraft 2. And then Red Bull securing that license to do that tournament at the same time as one of theirs was pretty much the nail in the coffin for them having StarCraft 2 in an event,
Yeah.
Well, I think. Well, did Red Bull? I guess Red Bull got that date first, right? Yeah, so it's something like that. I think that was the story. But Huck, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just saying, like, from what I heard from MLG's side, I don't know if this is true or not, you never know, but they actually reduced the prize pool for Anaheim last year because WCS went so bad and it was such a money sink for them. I don't know if that's true. It could just be an excuse, but that's what they said from their side. So hopefully it goes well this time.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I'll probably be going to MLG Anaheim this year because I still haven't made it to an Anaheim, which is kind of crazy since it's typically one of the biggest events of the year. So looking forward to doing that. But so I guess the jury's still out on whether to have the Korean players because Paul already has a visa now. So
Yeah.
there's no visa issue with him. He could pull and Violet, right? They could just go to whatever event here. But it sounds like the rest of them might be up in the air, and I don't know. I guess overall that's probably a good thing. It's just to really kind of revitalize the NA scene, right? Kind of go back to maybe what it was like a long time ago, which was like in 2010, 2009. Where it was just mostly you guys. Like when was it? When was the MLG you won, Chris? Like the first one.
I think there was one in 2010 and one in 2011.
Okay, 2010 is the one I think
exactly.
the one I remember, like the first one, I think. And those were good times back then, man. Those good numbers, decent numbers at least relatively back then. So, be good to see. But the open bracket, 200 seats. If there's 200 seats, that's awesome. That's going to be great.
Let's say approximately, I guess, from now.
Yeah,
Either way, they
still,
said
yeah,
it was
Chapman.
really big.
Okay.
But I don't understand if they're gonna have that. I think they just gotta open it up for everybody, to be honest. Because if there's 200 seats, I can't picture 200 NA players being worthy of those seats. No offense to NA players and all, but
Yeah, that's probably fair. Yeah. Okay. Well, any other last comments on MLG? Either of you guys?
not really. Just happy.
No, hopefully everything goes well.
All right. Let's move on to WCS NA. So the NA qualifiers. So NASL's running. They're basically running these qualifiers. And Steven, you took part in the first one, right? The first of three. I can't hear you, bud.
Sorry, hold on one second.
All right.
I think he took place in the first, but not the second or something.
Yeah, something like that. But you didn't play in it, Chris or Huck?
No, I was already in it from last year, so
Right.
I didn't have to play it.
Okay, great. And wait on Steven here.
All right, I'm here. I'm sorry.
No problem. But just to sum it up, the qualifiers. The first one I think went okay. I think there wasn't too much talked about during it, but the second one is where I think a lot of things just went wrong, where a lot of players didn't realize, I guess, what the qualifications were or didn't register, and the admins apparently didn't handle it very well, and admin didn't handle it very well. And it just kind of exploded on on NASL, and to the point where they just basically are, just canceled it and just kind of redid it. And the third one happened, I think, a day ago or a couple days ago, and I think the third one went okay. But Steven, how did your first one go?
The first one, from a hosting standpoint or whatever, seemed fine. I think everything ran pretty well. I
Okay.
didn't hear of any like serious problems or anything, or people having trouble. All the trouble started to crop up in the second one, it seemed.
Yeah, and the second one. So having one admin, I think, is just, that's just kind of crazy. You definitely need more than one admin, especially with something that's as important as the NA qualifier, the wildcard qualifier.
Yeah, there's that. Like, I'm really, really, really disappointed in that. That was just like an immensely fucking disappointing thing.
Mike keeps cutting out, dude.
It's been 3 or 4 years now where we've been running things like this. Is my mic cutting out?
Okay, there you go. Now it's better now.
Wait, can you hear me? Fuck. Okay, sorry.
We can hear you now.
Yeah, okay. You can hear me now, right?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. It's kind of disappointing that it's been like 3 or 4 years of running qualifiers like this and people can still fuck it up. I think it's pretty disgusting, but I don't know.
Huck, what do you think? The whole situation.
Yeah, it's the biggest thing is just a lack of manpower. How can you have one admin for that whole tournament, especially when it's not like electronically set? From some of the qualifiers I heard, there was people from Wings of Liberties their like Wings of
Yeah.
Liberty accounts being in the on the bracket, even though they didn't
People that
register.
didn't even own the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's people that did register and weren't counted. I mean, I personally think
Muslim.
if ML or if Blizzard gave control to Team Liquid and told them to host it, they would do a better job than NASL. So,
I mean,
yeah.
so what's the? It's like, so that's the thing. Like, it's like, what's going on with NASL? Because for a while, NASL was, they were like the NA darlings, right? Of just event organizers, especially when MLG was involved, right? I mean, it was kind of like, all right, MLG's were people shitting on MLG and people loving NASL, but now it's kind of going the opposite direction now, I guess.
Well,
with NASL.
I mean, to be fair, it's just been one event so far, or just the organization of the qualifier. So we don't know if they're gonna like fuck everything up, but
yeah.
it's just that this specific instance, it was really disappointing because this is stuff that we shouldn't even have to think twice about anymore. I mean, there are plenty of people in the community that would freely admin, like for no charge, that would admin for NASL. Like, there's no reason to only have one admin, and the horrible communication, and yeah, I don't know.
All right, yeah. So hopefully they'll correct those things. I saw that. Did you guys see that interview with Mr. Bitter on the ESGN thing with the Rodan thing? Did you guys see that interview?
Wait, was it one from a year ago?
No. It's just like a few days ago.
Then no, I haven't. What?
Basically, the day of all this craziness, Frodan interviewed him on that daily news show that they have on ESGN, and I don't know. Bitter just looked tired, man. He didn't look like himself in that interview. I just put it to you that way. Like something's a little off there or something at NASL. I don't know. I know they lost a lot of guys to ESGN, but staff wise, I'm not sure. I mean, he even alluded to not having, I guess, a team that he could accomplish, I guess, things that he could have accomplished in the past. So I don't know if you guys got that vibe too. If you saw the interview.
Who is even? I'm sorry, I get so mixed up between everybody shifting around between all these organizations. So who is on NASL right now with Bitter?
Roddy's still there.
I think what he was saying was like background guys though, like regular.
Yeah, that's what I
staff,
mean. Like
admin people.
Yeah, like who is even with NASL anymore?
Well, when I was there for WCS, it seemed like they had a pretty big staff. I want to say like 15 to 20 people working there. But apparently, also when I was there, I heard that they let go a few people, and a lot of the people were new. I still don't get. I mean, unless they literally only have like 5 or 6 people on staff on payroll, even if they're not on payroll, you should be able to find admins. It's not hard. Even just tweet and ask, and people will like offer to intern or something to admin. Whatever you can do. It's just it's not excusable.
Fair enough. Okay, yeah. Well, hopefully, again, like the qualifiers in the future, because they're gonna be hosting all of these qualifiers through the year. Hopefully, they'll be a lot better next time around, and the events themselves will be really good from NASL. Let's move on to the whole Quantic thing. So the whole Quantic craziness that went on, just over a week ago now, I guess. Haven't really discussed it on Unfiltered. What do you guys think about all this? So just to sum it up for the folks that don't even know what we're talking about, big deal when Hyun released or posted or tweeted that he's basically owed a lot of money from Quantic, and Simon, the owner, was nowhere to be found, I guess, for a while. And Hyun was just kind of, I guess, reaching out to the community, or just letting the community know, like, I guess, what his current situation is with Quantic, and and then the community reacted and kind of craziness and that sort of thing. But I guess the result of it was a lot of different events kind of surrounding Hyun, and even some I guess Onage is like working with Hyun now with some even apparel and stuff like that. What are your thoughts on just the whole thing? First off, what are your thoughts on just Quantic? And this is kind of second time around Quantic, starting to kind of basically fall into possibly closure. I don't know. I don't even know if it's closure or not, but it seems to be almost getting there. Steven, what do you think? You've been on Quantic before.
Well, I mean, how much of this Quantic is related to the last one? How much of the staff is the same? I don't think Mark is involved anymore, is he?
No.
Mark's still.
No.
He's still involved
So
in
no.
the sport where he's still, I think, part of the organization in some regard, just not running the organization like he used to be.
I mean, I don't know. This whole situation is really fucked up. Um, on a few levels. I mean, one, what the guy did was fucking terrible. I don't understand I don't understand why Hyun was having his prize money being paid to him. I don't know if that's a normal setup in some smaller teams or if it was a one-off thing because Hyun was confused or didn't understand something. But man, if you're a player, you gotta get that shit like under control. I don't know, paying. I mean, I could understand if you were on a team. Me and Huck were talking a little earlier. Like if you're on like EG or Team Liquid or like Complexity, like I could understand your bosses handle your paychecks or whatever and then pay you, from tournaments. But to be on a relatively small team, like if you're on like Quantic or Love Your Girlfriend or like like the really small teams like that,
Yeah.
I don't think I would ever trust any of those guys to be handling checks from major tournament winnings for me. That just seems like a disaster waiting to happen. So I don't know. That's a really sad scenario for everybody involved.
Yeah, I mean, he's not the only one that's owed money. I mean, I know other folks that. I mean, Masan actually came out with a post even weeks before Hyun came out, right, where
Yeah.
he was owed money for travel or something like that, and that was before he left the team too.
That's really weird that the rest of the team is owed money because a lot of the times in esports there are a lot of people that don't get paid ever. So it's really surprising to me that all of Quantic would say they're owed like $40,000 in pay. Like I kind of wonder how much everybody on that team was making because that's a pretty small team, right? Quantic is a pretty small team. All of their staff were paid a decent sum of money. Like,
Actually,
even
some of the
getting
staff
paid-
is owed money too. I can tell you.
Yeah,
Also.
$40,000 worth of money. Like if you're a staffer on a pro team these days and you get paid $200 a month, you're like in the top like 0.01%. I'm not even joking. If you do
you're
like
probably right. Actually.
like work like that, yeah, if you get paid $200 a month to be on staff, you're making more than like you're in the top 1% of like pro gamers like earning money. Like that's crazy that the staff was owed that much money. So I have no idea what was going on behind the scenes there.
Huck, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I know from personal experience, just kind of common sense. I've gotten approached by different organizations that are promising, it's just way too good. You look at it, you're getting way too much money for what you have to give back in return, and it's not some reputable organization. You gotta immediately start questioning stuff and setting some, deadlines like, you pay me on time, and if you don't pay me on time, I quit, because to be honest, especially a lot of the staff members should have saw this coming, and once again, not smart on Hyun's part. But what are you gonna do? Like I said, I just think it was a situation where he didn't want to do the paperwork, and Simon stepped up, and I guess Hyun did trust Simon to some degree because Simon was throwing around money, and he's like his father passed away or something. The guy that owns Quantic, Simon. And he gets paid like his salary from the company he works for, which is probably not working at all, is like 150,000 or 210,000.
I think it's 200 or something like that.
Yeah, $200,000 a year. So, when you have someone that seems like they're just got a shit ton of money and they don't know what to do with it, I guess, I don't know. He put his trust in the wrong person.
Did somebody say cloth? What? No, I'm just kidding. That'll be great.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think we've all, I think we've all been in a situation where it's just like, you have somebody, it's kind of in a too good to be true scenario where he's willing to pay you X amount of money, right? And you get into the point where you want to believe him because he's probably going to give you more money than somebody else would give you, right? I don't know. I think Steven, you mentioned that even a little bit when it was the whole Own 3D thing, right? Like they were. I think
a
the
little
deal
bit,
you had
but
was
to give myself a little bit more credit there, I think that there's a big cry between joining a whole other streaming platform business that's got millions of dollars behind it and joining a small kind of.
Oh no, I mean I'm not saying that.
Team.
I'm just saying
But
like
yeah, I mean,
you're
yeah,
going to
they're
give them
kinda-
more chances to give you your money because you're in a really good situation with them versus
Yeah, maybe sure.
yeah. So I think Hyun probably was in that boat too and got to the point where he just couldn't, he just couldn't deal with it any longer and had to release it.
There's
public.
also
But-
there's also a difference in the idea of kind of liability there too, and that it sucks to think like when Own couldn't pay me, like the entire business went under. So Own was done, not just because of me, but because like they couldn't handle their financial things anymore. So Own was like done as a business. So like that was just like a horrible last resort. Everybody kind of got fucked in that deal. With Quantic though, and I'm not accusing anyone of anything, and I have no idea what's going on behind the things, but the possibility does exist that that guy pocketed a lot of money and ran, which I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, he did invest a lot into the team, probably more, hopefully, than he got from, Hyun's prize money or whatever, but it's so much different when there's just one person with no liability who can just walk at any time, and it's like, fuck,
Well, I can guarantee he didn't make any money. I mean, like, I don't think he made. Yeah, if anything, I think he spent most of his money, at least for his his single year salary. I think was what was being talked about. Because I think Hyun was talking about being getting on first class or business class flights and stuff last minute and crap like that.
Yeah,
and
I think
that's just blowing cash for no reason.
Sure.
I think it was.
It
just
seems so strange if he had so much money. If he was like that rich, like then this should just be a drop in the bucket for him. No, why would he
care enough to make this much PR? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I
if it's just a drop in the bucket, I don't know.
Yeah, apparently
For months at a time, too.
Wait, Huck, what was that?
Well, like I was saying, apparently this guy Simon was it was like a common thing for him to do this, where he would just disappear for a large amount of times, and then apparently also the reason that Quantic may be going under now is because he invested a lot of the money in the LCS team that failed qualifying or whatever, and so he kind of like gambled it away. I mean, and at the end of the day, you got to look at it, and he's just like a really young guy who's wanted to be like this hero esports guy that saved Quantic and saved Hyun and saved all these players and gave them first class flights and wanted to push this thing and make it like his dream, and it kind of just failed. And then he tried to gamble it on LCS and then it failed again, and now he's kind of busto. So
I mean, this story isn't very uncommon in esports.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I mean, as a player, Huck, especially as an up and coming player, and you're approached by teams like this, I mean, what do you say to them? Do you actually reject them if if they're actually offering you an opportunity that you actually currently don't even have? Like, what do you say to them?
If it was me, like I said before, I would say sure. If it's like really good pay or they're offering a lot, I would say sure, let's do this. But I wouldn't have made the mistake Hyun made of giving the money to Simon, hopefully. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, you got to set like some hard deadlines where you say you pay me at the end of every month or the beginning of every month whenever it's due, and you have maybe like a week of freedom to be late or whatever. But after that, I'm going to quit or I'm going to look into other opportunities, because it's so common in esports for teams to say, oh, we're just a little bit late, just hold on, just a little bit longer, and blah, blah, blah. Azubu owned Quantic, whatever. And people just have to be smarter about it and just don't keep falling for that same shit.
Yeah, so the aftermath of it was a lot of the community, kind of rallying, I guess, behind Hyun and creating these events, like the whole event where he was casting and that sort of thing, and then now the Onash thing. What do you guys think of that? Like, do you think all of this is just a display of how great the community is, or do you think it went a little overboard and just like, I guess, trying the support for a player that's been, I guess, kind of screwed? Because there's a lot of players that have been screwed. Let's just be honest. But Hyun just happens to be a fan favorite, and I think he probably made a decent amount of money from all these things that happen afterwards. Not saying he made more or less, or I don't really. That's not really the point. But I'm just saying, like, it seems to be like these certain players get the support from a monetary standpoint more so than others. Steven, what do you think about it?
I would have been so much happier. I would have been 100% behind all of it if Hyun would have just did this without threatening to retire. That, I think, like, of all the things that have happened, that's like the thing that gives me like the worst like vibe out of anything. Was just like if he would have been like, man, like I'm fucked out of all this money or whatever, and then Golden was like, we're gonna have the Saves Hyun Smile tournament or whatever, blah, blah, and it's like, okay, whatever, because like, I mean, can you really get mad? Like, it's just donations. He's not forcing anybody to donate. No. But when that with that underlying tone is like, I need this or I'm gonna retire, guys. Like, you guys better donate the money or I'm gonna retire. Like, it's almost like he's holding his entertainment and his career like hostage, to the community. I don't know. I was a little bit uncomfortable with that. I was a little bit uncomfortable without like the live updating totals and shit. Like, there's always the possibility that somebody could be dishonest about how much money is received, which is impossible to tell. And I mean, you can't really assume one or another.
Yeah, that one you can't police for it. That's hard. It's definitely hard.
I mean, for the most part, I guess it's not that bad, but I don't know.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The community supporting anybody, I mean, that's a great thing. I mean, just, showing the love for a player. It's just, So, yeah, like Steven said, I think some of the ways that some of the things that were done were kind of a little made me feel a little uncomfortable too.
Yeah,
How,
especially because now it raises the question of like when can Hyun retire? You know, like if he
yeah,
retires in three
right.
months, are we all gonna feel like assholes? Or even in 6 months, you know, like he retire, say he fizzles out and he retires in 6 months. Like, does everybody feel like what the fuck did we just waste all of our money donating to you for? You know? So I mean, I don't know. It's just he put himself in a really weird spot by prefacing everything with that donate or I'm gonna retire mentality. You know?
Yeah, I mean, how have you? Well, actually, let me get your thoughts on it first. Huh?
Well, I agree with everything that was said. I'm pretty good friends with Hyun. I've actually known him for a little bit. We've hung out in Korea and everything. So he's a great guy, and I do like
Mm-hmm.
the fact that the community helped him out. But there are a bunch of question marks here. Like, let's say in comparison to other Koreans, Hyun's making like 4 or 5K on Quantic. Like, I don't think that's what he was making. But let's say there's some perks like business class flights and everything that he reaped from Quantic that would kind of even out the fact that he's missing a good chunk of money. And then all of a sudden, on top of that, at the end of it, he says, I'm missing this amount of money. So he gets a bunch of donations. And compared to some other Korean that made maybe $200 in salary in the last 3 months, it kind of feels bad. I kind of feel bad for
Mm-hmm.
other players that got screwed just as much or more than Hyun, but won't ever receive that help. So I do feel like it was like a little cheap and whatnot, but Hyun is a great guy. So at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, I'm happy he got some donations to help him out. But it definitely could have been done in a more professional manner. And on top of that, Hyun well, everybody should just not make the mistakes that Hyun and other esports people keep making. But people's eyes light up when they see money and wanna believe in something. So.
I mean, with Hyun actually saying that he'd probably retire afterwards, I mean, it kind of gave you the sense that no team was going to pick him up. But do you actually see that? I mean, I feel like Hyun is pretty I mean, he is a fan favorite. So if there is like a foreign or just a Korean player that has kind of gotten to the hearts of the foreign fans and this stuff, I mean, Hyun's one of them. So why wouldn't he be kind of a commodity or just pretty hot commodity for a team to pick up?
I don't get that. I remember
Yeah.
in WCS qualifier, the Muslim threatened to retire if he wasn't put in the bracket. And I just think whenever
Oh, yeah.
you kind of do that stuff, it kind of looks really shitty. So it was
Mhm.
just I mean, I think
see.
he was just desperate. He felt really pissy. He's a human being.
Mhm.
He wanted money. There you go.
Cool.
Done.
All right. Any last thoughts? Last words on the Quantic stuff?
Oh,
Hopefully,
apparently. Sorry, go ahead, Stephen.
okay, hopefully they get the guy. I mean, it's not like a company dissolving; it's an actual physical person. So hopefully they can go after him individually and get the money back. There's another question too: is what happens when they get the money back? Does Hyun just pocket all of that, or because legally he's not obligated to pay it to anybody else? But,
How would he even go about giving the money back anyways to all those
Yeah.
donators? It would be
Yeah.
insanely bad. Apparently he was making 2.2k, Hyun was, a month,
Yeah, a month,
which is
yeah.
considerably more
really
than
good. That's a
Yeah,
really good salary for
that-
esports.
that. Yeah,
Or for
I
StarCraft
mean,
2, sorry.
StarCraft 2, I can even speak on my salary has gone way, 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 way down.
Mm-hmm.
And 2.2 is basically, I could name maybe 3 or 4 players that are making that much in the community.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some Casper pros, so maybe like 8 total, but Hyun's definitely not deserving of 2.2k, I feel. So, but either way, it's fine.
All right. Why don't we take a quick break? We'll be right back. We're going to talk about the Maximus Black article a little bit. Since we have a pro gamer and a popular streamer or popular personality here to talk about kind of the differences between the streams, and I think we're going to talk a little bit about the whole JP in control thing, just a tiny bit. I know some of you folks had something to chime into it, even though it's not really StarCraft 2 related, but it is two StarCraft 2 big personalities. So, all right, we'll be right back, guys.